What's up, everyone, and welcome. This is the Fluency Target Podcast. Always aim for fluency. My guest today is a very, very special person to me. George has been my mentor for over 7 months. And not only has he been helping me develop some pronunciation aspects of American English, but he's also the person who encouraged me to use my voice more and create this podcast. Besides being my pronunciation mentor, my vocal coach, and an amazing advisor, he's also a fellow teacher. We have many, many things in common and a lot to share with you today. Hi,
Wow.
George.
What's
What's
up?
up?
I had no idea. No idea I was your mentor, but I'll take it.
You are. You're.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for accepting the invitation. I
Yeah,
am
man.
really, really happy to have you here.
Let's do it.
We're talking about the teaching path first.
Yeah.
And I would like to start from scratch.
Hmm.
Why teaching?
Me? Why
Yeah.
teaching?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of us are born teachers. I love teaching. Just not necessarily it has to be English. I mean, I could teach anything. I find that the more I teach, the more I learn myself, you know. But teaching English is because we moved to Colombia when my daughter was 3 years old, and we looked for a bilingual school in the city of Cali, Colombia, and we couldn't find anything and nothing. I mean, we're so because we need perfect English for the kid. You know what I'm saying? For my daughter.
Hmm.
And we just went to all the schools. I mean, the best schools. And not only do they charge, because, South America, like if you go to, it's probably like in Brazil, right? You have to charge for a good school, right? Here
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the United States, you get public schools for free. And we couldn't find anything. And I look Colombian. So my wife said, just don't open your mouth when we go to the interviews. So I told her, okay, I won't open my mouth, but ask about the English. So she would ask about the English. And some schools, they would say, oh yeah, the English teacher comes on Wednesdays for about 1 hour and shows them some videos. And I'm like, what? And the other school we went to, no lie, we ask about the English, and the director, the principal, um, pulls out what is this Disney World, the Mickey Dancing with Mickey or ABC
Hmm.
with Mickey, or she pulled out the whole DVD and she's like, this is what
Whoa.
we, and I'm like, no, this can't be it. Then we went to the rich elite schools, and of course they're going to teach very good, but they said that our daughter was too young to learn English. She was 3 years old, and I'm stay
What?
quiet. I'm like, really? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, why would they say that? Maybe they want to save the money for the bilingual teachers, for the later grades. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe they don't think that the children that maybe they think it's too young.
Hmm.
And I was just confused, and I'm like, my goodness, man. I mean, she speaks English. What is wrong with these people? So one day in the kitchen, me and my wife, we said, what if we open a school and we make it the best,
Hmm.
and it's just full English and real English? And what if we put like arts in it, dancing, singing, ballet, but the real thing? And what if the place is clean? Because man, I'm telling you,
Hmm.
everywhere we went, it just looked dirty to me. Oh man, I do hope people from Colombia in the education department are looking at this, because we had a big problem
Hmm.
with the cleanliness. Our place, we made it spotless. If you meet my wife, she has OCD. The walls have to be white.
Hmm.
And everybody that would walk into our school would say, wow, this is clean. Because the other places, to save on the electricity, they don't turn the lights on. This is South America, right?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Ah,
Absolutely.
so we have the American mentality. My wife, she's Colombian, but she lived in the United States for so long that we had the American mentality: competitive,
Mhm.
quality, want to be the best, and what we offer and we promise, that's what you're going to get. So the first thing, we put a big sign outside. It said, "Niños bilingües," bilingual kids.
Mhm.
Early, what was it? Early English and Art Academy. Big. And we started firing teachers. Oh, this is so crazy. We started firing teachers because the first year we knew nothing about it. We were wondering why our school was the same as the rest of the schools. And we were lucky to get an academic advisor. And she came in, this excellent lady. I mean, she had so many years under her belt as an academic advisor. He says, you got the wrong teachers. And she told us exactly what teachers we need. Fired the teachers, got them out there. We got the best teachers, man. And the school started taking shape. We had ballet, we had karate, we had capoeira also. We had one of the teachers, she was like in capoeira, so she brought the beating bow, and we would do everything. Plus it was English. When the kid walked in, he was met with English all the way until he left the school that day.
Wow.
In the contracts, the teachers were not allowed to talk to the kid in Spanish. The kid was not allowed to speak in Spanish. If the kid asked for something in Spanish, I'm sorry, you better figure out a way. And the parents were angry with us at the beginning, and the psychologist was angry with us at the beginning. And the same academic advisor was angry with us. She's like, oh no, what did I do? This guy's crazy. I said, no, this is how I learned English. They put me in a room full of English-speaking kids. I knew nothing about English. I was 5 years old, and in 2 or 3 months, I was already speaking because it's do or die. And I said, that's the same situation I want with the kids. Some parents took their kids out. Others stayed with us. The parents that took their kids out, 2 months later, they were back with, we say with the tail in between their legs. And we said, okay, now you know what you're doing. We didn't have to put any advertising. What would happen is our students, they'd be swimming because in South America, they have conjuntos, the residential, you know what I'm saying? It's so different than the United States. And the kids swimming at a barbecue, and they start talking in English because it's so much English that we would give these kids that even they would speak English by themselves. They would dream in English. They would sing. And so the other people in the swimming pool in the conjunto would be like, hey, you guys are American? No, we're Colombian. Oh, how does your kid speak so well? Well, there's a school down the street. Where? Because we were invisible.
Nobody knew it.
In 1 year, we were packed.
Fantastic.
And so that's when I realized the importance of teaching. If you want to continue, if you want to build a civilization or a culture, you need teachers, my friend. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how many times. I know you asked me the simplest question, and I'm talking and rambling. I'll be done in a second.
I'm here amazed by the talk. We're on the same page. Really.
Right. But I'll tell you what, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, you don't know how many people in Colombia would say, you guys, man, you guys should charge more. And man, you don't have to be there. Go to the finca, go put a camera in the school, and you could go swimming and just look at the finca and see if the teachers are, playing with the kids. We said, no. This is going to be the real deal. Kids are going to learn how to dance. They're going to learn how to debate. They're going to learn how to develop. We just want to develop them. And I became obsessed with just developing kids. And then the teachers, okay, they needed help with the accent reduction. And that's where I perfected it. That's where I said, come on, let's go, girls. You're not going to teach my kids this Colombian Spanish. Colombian English, You're going to teach them the real deal. And so they were so happy, because they had the English. It was just the pronunciation that was lacking, I started working with them after school and before school. They would come in like 1 hour, stay 1 hour. They're young, so they pick it up quick. They're not old like me, where it takes like whatever. Young kids, they pick it up so quick. I say these teachers were like 18 or 19 years old.
Yeah.
And what happened was the big schools, the schools that I had visited before we ever thought of opening a school, they started taking our teachers. They started stealing our teachers, man, these people. I'm saying to myself, you have millions of dollars, you have big schools, you have like 3 or 4,000 kids, you have international teachers, you have American teachers, German teachers, British teachers, Canadian teachers, Australian teachers, and we're this little school with 70 kids and we're beating you people? Why?
And now that
Because
things are working, right? They are starting to.
because we care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we care. Same thing happened with KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I saw a documentary. It's the funniest thing. Colonel Sanders, he really cared about his recipe and all that.
Yeah.
When he sold it to the big company, they start putting the fake ingredients in there. No, so we really, 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 really cared. I could not see a kid sitting on the ground doing nothing, man. You
Yeah.
know, I couldn't. So let's go. And we motivate these kids, man. And at the end of the years, we would do a clausura. Is that how you say it in Portuguese? Clausura, the end of the show, end of year talent show. But we would do a
Mm.
theater, like Broadway theater, man. And
Uh-huh.
the parents would be on the floor crying. So
That's fantastic.
but why are you crying? I said, no, because the kid comes home and all day he's beep, 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 and he doesn't talk. And
Uh-huh.
here he's spinning girls around, dancing salsa and yelling and singing and talking in English. I said, this is not my kid. What are you guys doing? It's because we care. So I
Yeah.
fell in love. I fell in love with teaching.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm here like not saying anything because I'm just listening. This story is new to me as well. So, but yeah, we're pretty much on the same page. And I think since day one, I realized that we had things in common in this sense because we pay attention. We look at things in a way that people are not looking. People sometimes they are like aiming for money, and what we were worried about is the human side of that, like developing people. English, of course, is super important for everybody from kids to adults to professionals and everything. But I think when you start thinking about the human side of learning and teaching English, it becomes way more engaging, more interesting. And you ended up learning with them as well and giving them way more than English language, like you did. You
Yeah, man.
developed a school that had everything.
That's what I'm talking about. The only thing we need is a long beard and we climb a mountain and just wait for people to climb that mountain to meet us. That's all we need.
Yeah. People start believing when something is good. I'm sure of that. You
Yeah.
have a vision, people just have to see the way you're seeing it.
I'm waiting to start floating. Eventually, I will start floating. Don't worry about this.
Yeah. And you said about the school, and you've developed all the school and gave kids, Colombian kids, an amazing way of learning things. And how was the transition to become a private teacher as you are right now?
That's a long story too, my friend. So italki was what we call a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Moonlighting. Some people say moonlighting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a side hustle when I trained the teachers, and then I could, just relax a little because it got to the point where I was practically on top of them, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the psychologist said, man, you know what I'm saying? Back off, man. You're gonna scare these kids, the girls, the teachers,
Uh-huh.
you know. So I had to, do a double take. I had to kind of analyze, and my wife would tell me, but she's my wife, so we don't listen. But
She's biased.
yeah. Because I was just want to control everything. I want everything to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, no, go find something to do. So I
Yeah.
started painting. I started doing martial arts. And then I said, you know what? I could do italki. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Well, I didn't know it was italki, but just like a platform. And then I
Mm-hmm.
found italki, and I started doing it. Yeah, man, it's so much fun. And so then I start using what I perfected with the teachers, and I start using it with my students, and it started working, and then I felt very good. And so that was just a side hustle. We had to move back to the United States because my daughter needed medical attention.
Mm-hmm.
She's good now, thank Jesus Christ, she's all good, but she needed some serious medical attention.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved back, it's like, we don't have a school, we don't have this. Oh, italki. And so I opened all my classes, And now this is my full-time thing and I love it. You know, everyone complains about their jobs. Everyone I meet, they complain about their jobs. They make so much money, they complain about their jobs. They have high professions, they complain about their jobs. I can't complain about my job, man. I mean, I talk to people all day and I help them out. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? It's the craziest, this is the craziest gig the craziest job I've ever had. You know what I'm saying? And I can
Yep.
honestly tell you, I wake up looking forward to it, you know?
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because I
Isn't
don't
that?
feel stressed at all.
No, it's the craziest thing, man. And you meet
Yep.
people with high professions, and sometimes you're envious of the high profession. You're like, man, you know what? I should have studied a little harder. But when you start talking to them and they're complaining, man, and they're miserable, you're like, what? Are you
Yeah.
serious? And I feel
Yeah.
so blessed. Oh, thank Jesus. I feel so blessed, Carla. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It must be really exciting having students worldwide because I think you see different things happening all the time, from the job complaints to English language and on and on.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, because right now I'm teaching a lot to my Chinese students. And
Mhm.
one thing I notice is, apart from the Chinese being so smart and so like motivated to study, there's no one in that education system teaching them how to really pronounce or how to really communicate.
Mhm.
So basically, I believe from what they tell me, I can already picture it. They have a test and they have to memorize 1,000 words. They memorize 1,000 words. They take the test. The test is over. Done. I'll never use these words again. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this is so wrong, because now I have professional Chinese people. I mean, professional lawyers, neurosurgeons, whatever.
Mhm.
And they have very good English, but they cannot communicate. They can't use it.
Mhm.
And so they're like so angry. They're like, what happened, man? You know, I've been studying like 10, 15, 20 years. And then here in the United States, you get someone who immigrates here and they need a job,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so right away they start communicating in English. If they live in Florida, South Florida, they don't need it. But I mean, if they come up here where it's just a bunch of American people,
Mhm.
it's do or die. Do or die. So
Yeah.
guess what? All of a sudden in 2 months, the guy's speaking, the guy or the girl, they're already talking to you,
Yeah.
because they have to feed their family. They have to talk. You know
There's
what I'm
nowhere
saying?
to run. You gotta speak English.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. And it's amazing. So I always say, if I want to learn, let's say if I really want to learn Italian, like if I'm going to get fired tomorrow, I'll just move to Italy for 6 months. And
Mhm.
and if I see an American person, I will run away from them, and I'll go work in a restaurant, or a place where they're going to talk to me English, Italian all day. Can you imagine being a car salesman and you in Italy, and you don't know you're going to have to learn quick,
Yeah. You're
di carro, oh, I don't, whatever, I don't know.
you gotta learn how to deal very fast. Like to make the
Yeah.
best deals with people. Imagine.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But you know how fast you'll learn if you really put yourself in that situation? I think you will learn fast,
Yeah, for sure.
you know?
Yeah, it's crazy because right now you kind of translate what you did in Colombia to your classes, because this is what English is about. I truly believe that, and you brought this to me as well. You gotta speak. You have to like get rid of those subtitles when you're watching something at some point, because you're not gonna learn how to talk if you're just reading things.
Yeah. When I've been speaking Spanish my whole life, but I speak American Spanish. So you can imagine how bad that is, you know? And when I moved to Colombia, the South American culture, they laugh at you when you make mistakes when you speak, right? They laugh at you. Yes.
Yes.
And that's the
A
worst thing.
lot. Yeah.
That's the worst thing, because in the United States, we don't laugh at the people when they make mistakes. We don't laugh. We
Mhm.
just don't. And you can see we're like trying to help with our face, like,
You're like trying to
cut.
understand something.
Yeah, but we don't laugh. We're not
Yeah.
like wah 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 wah.
Hmm.
Well, in Colombia, when I would speak Spanish, they'd be like wah 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 wah, and I'm like, Oh, these people, man,
It's
you know?
traumatizing.
Well, yeah, yeah,
I
I can
know.
imagine.
Yeah.
So then I would stop
Right.
talking,
Mhm.
and they would say to my wife, why is your husband so quiet? And my wife, she should have said it's because you people, you know what I'm saying? But she's like, no,
Mhm.
he's like that. No, I'm not like that. I want to talk, but you know what I'm saying? So there's a culture in South America where whoever's listening, you guys just have to stop making fun of each other. It just has to stop, man. But I know why, but it's just silly, you know, because when I get a Spanish person from South America as a student, they are petrified to open their mouth. They are petrified to make a mistake, like petrified,
Yeah,
you know?
it's
And
true.
I already know why. And so what I wanted to say is when I went to Colombia, I needed to perfect my Spanish because I speak the American Spanish. So I
Mhm.
started doing the shadowing with the soap operas, the novelas, you know, and I started doing the shadowing with the news reporters, and I started doing shadowing when I would hear my wife's family speaking. I would, you know, like imitate how they would talk, you know,
Mhm.
and I would use it and I would do it all day. My wife would get angry. She's like, "You're making fun of us." I'm like, "Well, maybe, but I'm kind of practicing." You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Uh, and um, and so one of my students from iTalki taught me about shadowing, and I said, "Wow, this is really interesting." I said, "Teach me how to do it perfectly." I had been doing it, but I didn't know I was doing it. Like I wasn't doing it. I was doing it without a method. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just shadowing. But it works, man. And I've seen your videos where you have your students shadow. And I don't know if you want to explain shadowing or you
Yeah,
want me to
yeah.
explain shadowing. Go. I want to hear you
We're gonna
explain
go.
shadow.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna get there. But that's it. You can keep talking.
okay.
There's no problem. Yeah.
Shadowing. You just have to become a parrot. How do you say parrot in Portuguese?
Uh, papagayo.
Yeah, that guy. You have to be a papagayo.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
You gotta do the imitation game.
Everything,
Yeah.
because every language has like a different song. Even in Colombia they have different songs, like where my wife is from Cali, they
Mhm.
say be a lot. It's like see be, but they sing it, they're like be, or so you have to
Yeah.
do that. You can't
Yeah.
just go, you can't just say be, you know, you got to go be or whatever. I'm probably doing it so wrong. And then in the other regions, they have other songs, you know.
Yeah.
Cuba pues, you know, they talk like this almost. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. You have those subtleties that you only realize by imitating. And
Yeah.
George, there is something that yeah, you notice that too. But with time, the more you shadow, you realize that it's not only about the words. Like I realized more and more, like doing the millennial girl, the job interview, that you gotta do the facial expressions. You change your whole body language when you do this kind of things.
You do, man. You
Yeah,
do.
you
Because,
really get
uh,
into the American English character.
yeah, it's the truth. Because you're
Yeah.
talking about body language and facial expressions and all that. When I was in Colombia, and sometimes I don't feel like talking. If you see me, I look Colombian if I'm over there. You know what I mean? If I'm
Hmm.
over there, you look, okay, he looks Colombian. If I'm in the United States, they say, I don't know where this guy's from. Maybe he's white, maybe he's French, maybe he's Filipino. I don't know. But in Colombia, okay, he hasn't said one word. This guy's Colombian, right? But they could tell when I start walking. And one of our friends over there said, I hope you, in Spanish, I hope you don't get offended, but you walk different. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, you walk like, and I'm thinking, oh man, yeah, I'm walking like a pimp. You know what I'm saying? And and the way we react is also different. You know,
Hmm.
we'd be like, what? You know, go up, what? You know, they don't go, what? They don't. They say que or como así or whatever.
Hmm.
You know, but it's just so natural. I'd be like, what? And they'd be like, where are you from? You are from where? And I'm like, oh, great, here we go. Now they're gonna try and charge me more because I'm gringo, you know?
They discover my disguise.
Yeah. It was the funniest thing. The funniest thing. How we walk, the tone, our facial expressions, even like all of this American stuff, even the way we move, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would move my hands a lot. They'd be like this, like looking at a mosquito or something, yeah.
There is a lot of neck movement.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, there is. There is. There
I
is.
noticed that.
That's right. That's the funniest thing. And all of that has to be part of it.
Yeah.
I had a new student, a Chinese student, but when she opened the camera for the first time, I said, "Wait, she's Japanese," because she was doing this Japanese face thing and going
Mhm.
and going, and I'm like, "Are you Japanese?" She's like, "No, I am Chinese," and I'm like, "Where are you living?" She said, "In Japan." I said, "Oh."
Now
How
it
long
makes
have you been there? 3 years. Oh, I said, you move like a Japanese person. How does a Japanese person move? And I'm like, oh, great. Here we go. You know?
gotta teach the person out.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's insane. Yeah, I noticed this a lot. And for a long time, I believe that the cultural traits that people said about English is teaching students the holidays, the cultural things. And it's not only that. It's the language. There is a melody. There are traits you have to like movements.
yeah.
Uh, how can I say that? Like common expressions, like I said. I say, what? And people don't say that in Colombia, for example.
No,
So
no,
you
no.
start noticing that the cultural traits are in the language.
Yeah. Yeah. So my daughter, she speaks perfect English and perfect
Mhm.
Spanish, but she speaks like what we call a white person in the United States. Okay,
Mhm.
I don't know. Some people are gonna not understand or whatever, but I don't mean like skin color, even though it is, but like the white people, she speaks like them.
Mhm.
And she got so angry because now she want to speak Latina. She want to speak like Latina.
Mhm.
Okay, this is very confusing if you're not from the United States, because even if you're in the United States, a Latin person that lives like in the hood, they have a different accent and they don't sound like a white person. So she wants to speak Latina. And
Mhm.
I'm like, good grief. Okay, honey, why don't you just shadow Cardi B? You know what I'm saying? That's it. Just shadow Cardi B, you know? You know who that is, right?
Yep.
Yo, what you talking about? What you talking about, boo? But now she outgrew that. Now she don't want to talk like that. But it's
Mhm.
just so funny that I can just say, you want to talk like that? Shadow.
There is something that I noticed with the students. You saw some videos from my Instagram and everything. And I have to tell them the difference between repeating and shadowing. Because the first time they do that, they repeat. And I said, no. Repetition is like you get the message, you do your way. You're not going to do your way. You
Got it.
got to do exactly what the person is doing. If the person hesitates, hesitate. If the first person coughs, coughs. If the person shouts, I don't know, man, scream, do whatever, but sound like them.
Sound like that. Wow, look at you, man. You're incredible, huh? You're an incredible teacher, aren't you?
But learn from you as well. You
That's
know,
why. That's why I set it up. I set it up. You think I don't know what I'm doing? I set it up, my friend. I knew it was coming this way.
I know where you're going.
Oh,
But
you're so funny.
yeah, and jokes aside, I many people think that I don't have a mentor. Like they look at me and they say like, "But you're not the, aren't you the teacher?" And I'm
Wow.
like, "Of course I am, but I'm obsessed. I want to do better. I want to learn. I want to learn as much as I can. I want to bring the best things for you to improve your English." And they mirror me. If I'm not a good role model for them, they're going to repeat everything that I do, everything that I say. If I do something wrong, or I don't know, if I have a bad pronunciation, bad English, they're going to have a bad English too. This is going to be the consequence.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know how good your English is. It's so good. It's like perfect. It's better than most of our English. I'm telling you the truth, man. I'm telling you the truth, man. You had
Thank
an
you.
interview before, you were doing a podcast, and the lady that I ain't gonna, but and she lives in the United States. You sounded more American than her. You know what I'm saying? Because she sounded like Cardi B. Yo, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what you talking about? What you talking
Yeah.
about, boo? So, so it was
Yeah.
funny.
Well, aside from being nervous, I take the
Uh,
compliment.
all right,
That's
cool.
thank you.
Let's do it. Take it.
Yeah. And yeah, but I think everything is really a process. I truly believe I remember first time we met. You look at me, you remember this. You're like, Carla, you have nothing to improve here. Everything sounds great. Sounds perfect. And I was looking at you and I was like, oh my God, guy's crazy, I think. Maybe he's not a
Yeah,
good teacher for me.
yeah, that guy's
But
horrible teacher. You didn't hang up.
no. And
You didn't. That was
I
good.
know
Thank you.
I know you needed time to spot the things that I had to improve.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah, but
said, what'd you say? That guy's slow. He needs time.
no, no, because it works with me as well. Like when I meet the student for the first time, I need to spend time with them. Literally, it's not only one class. It's during the process, like a month, for example, I start spotting some problems you got to work with. So
Really?
yeah. So sometimes it takes time. And you know that the more advanced a student is, the harder it is to teach them,
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
right?
man. Yeah, but you were a challenge, and I'm thankful for that challenge. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know where to begin. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like me trying to teach my next door neighbor English. What are you talking about? But luckily it worked, and I identified some minor mistakes. I mean, they're so minor nobody even knows. And like I said, you speak better than most people here in the United States. Yeah. When I was a kid, we weren't allowed to speak
Mhm,
poor English. We would get in trouble,
mhm.
but now with the changes in this world, like, you could just speak however you want in the United States. Even CEOs of companies, they just speak informal,
Mhm.
because they're young kids, most of them, or they grew up differently. It's like, hey, what up, guys? You know what I'm saying? Like that, and it's okay. So the way you speak is very clear, very educated, and very professional. And that's probably why you have that type of clientele, I would imagine. Professional people that want to speak good. If I
Yep.
didn't know how to speak English, I would go straight to Carla.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is. We're gonna talk about struggles, but most of my students, like you said, you have this judgmental mindset in South America, Central America sometimes, and it is a problem for me. I get students sometimes they're totally traumatized. Like they have an amazing English, but I think they couldn't have a person that could really encourage them to be themselves in English. Because when you start feeling what you're saying, it becomes easier. And somehow I have to put the student into this mindset first. Like, man, be yourself. But you have English already. We just have to focus on improving this pronunciation. And then they start opening up. They start being themselves, and it becomes easier. It becomes easier to teach them. But in a judgmental country like here, it's really, really hard to talk, to
Oh,
speak
I
English.
know. I know. You
I
telling
don't
me?
know
I
what
saw
people
that
think.
firsthand. I don't know. I don't think it's going to change. I mean, I did research into it, and I found out that it deals with this thing called a hypnotic rhythm. This might get too deep, but anyway, Napoleon Hill was a very good
Hmm.
researcher and lecturer, and he didn't come up with the idea of hypnotic rhythm, but he gave it the term hypnotic rhythm. It means when it's like a band, they're all
Hmm.
playing the same melody, the same instrument. It sounds like a band. It sounds cohesive.
Hmm.
There's a rhythm, and it's hypnotic, and it's all working together. But if the drummer starts playing totally different, or he gets drunk and he's like, oh, or he gets sick, and that you're gonna feel that something is wrong right away. Even if you're not a musician, you're gonna say something sounds wrong, right? So here's what happens. Like in cultures like in South America, there's this hypnotic rhythm
Hmm.
where everybody in the family or everybody in the neighborhood, they run the same way, they dress the same way, they have the same type of bicycle, they eat the same kind of food, and it's all like it's a rhythm. They all
Hmm.
say hello the same way, they all have the same goals, and aspirations. It's all the same. The minute the drummer starts playing out of control, like, hey guys, I'm going to learn English. What? Look at
Mhm.
you. Oh, and you're going to leave us. Oh, what are you going to be, American? Oh, look, llegó la gringa, llegó la gringa. You understand?
Fancy.
Yeah, fancy. Wow. Or the minute someone
Yeah.
has books, I don't know, books, and starts reading. Oh, let me guess, you're gonna go read. Come on, man, let's go drink a beer, man. Don't be stupid. You're gonna, oh, you're the smart one. Okay. And so they start ridiculing because the
Yeah.
hypnotic rhythm is breaking. It's breaking. You
Hmm.
see, it's breaking. And so now that person, the drummer who's breaking the beat, has two options, man. Either stay on beat again and go, okay, I want to be part of the beat and I don't want to progress. Or if I study English, I'll do it at night at 12 midnight under my pillow, hi, how are you? Or I leave. I have to
Hmm.
go. Get out of here. Go find a new band. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so I saw that when I moved to Colombia. I saw that firsthand. And there's something they call like the poor mentality, you
Hmm.
know? How do you say that in Portuguese? I'm sure you say that in Portuguese and everybody in Brazil will understand. Say, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. How do you say that?
The poor mentality.
Yeah.
Mentalidade pobre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not poor like bad, poor like poverty.
Yeah.
That's
We,
what I'm
yeah.
saying,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
there's a rhythm.
Exactly.
And so that's what happens. And so that's where the ridicule comes, because when you don't understand something, it's easy to ridicule it,
Hmm.
you know and then you could say, oh, be careful, the smart one came in the room, something like that, oh, be careful, the American came in the room, something. And
Yeah.
I would see it, you know and I'm like, man, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in the United States, we're taught to, like, things are changing in the United States, but during
Mm.
my time, and not too long ago, we were taught, like, you have to build someone up, so there's
Mhm.
always like, yes, you can, just do it, try, all of these words,
Mhm.
don't worry about it. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. You can do it. Don't give up. Reach for the skies. And this is what we grow up with. You go to Colombia and everybody pushing you down, saying, why would you want to learn English?
Yeah.
You know?
You're not using this right now. Why?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Why
But
would you want to read a book? Oh, they
yeah.
would say, they would say, why are you going to work on the weekends? Go to the finca. And I'm thinking in my head, man, but I'm building a business here. I need to be the best, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm. Yeah. As you're saying right now, a movie is playing in my head. Because it feels like people think, I don't know, at least here, English is like a status. Like to have English is sort of a status, like, oh, you're fancy. Oh, have you ever traveled abroad? Because they kind of connect this to traveling abroad.
Yeah, man.
I've never been abroad.
And you
you know,
don't need to. You
yeah,
don't need to.
exactly. So it's not about that. But I think usually the people that judge you are the people who don't know English, are the people who are, they don't care about studying. They kind of know English and they are there judging you for trying to be better.
Oh, so yeah. So, I'm not lying, and I'm not making
No,
stuff up. And I
it's
saw
true
this.
story.
I saw this.
Yeah.
And there was the bad part of me, the bad guy part of me said, this is wonderful. My business is going to take off because there's no competition.
Hmm.
All I have to do is build the kids. Say, man, you guys can be. My kids were from 18 months to 6 year old.
Hmm.
That's the most important time of someone's life.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
can either destroy someone for the rest of their life or you can build them.
True.
So when I started learning about everything I could about teaching kids, and I remember how I was brought up in the United States, where you build somebody. I started building these kids, man. The word shy could not exist in our school. I'm a shy person, but I am still overcoming it. And I overcame it with theater and with rap music and dance. So I said, all these kids are shy. They're stuck on a computer all day. They don't have any muscles. Let's get some sports in here, some art, some martial arts, and some theater. And I would transform. It wasn't just me. I say I, but I have teachers and my wife and all that. But I would transform these kids into something different, man, where they could say, yes, I can, and sure. and so that's the bad part of me said, wow, I'm so glad I'm in a culture where they make fun and there's no competition, because there's no competition. But on the other side, I would see my teachers, young girls, 18, 19, 20 years old, just suffering, man. Just suffering. You know what I'm saying? Nobody to back them up, nobody to support them. Everybody's always saying, why are you going to do that? Why would you want to buy an apartment over there? The rich people live over there. You can't do that. It's impossible for you to get an apartment over there. You don't know about, you know what I'm saying? We invited them to eat. This is the true story. Oh my goodness. We invited them to eat at a fancy restaurant. They didn't know what to do. I thought they were kidding. I'm like, no, what is going on? And so because I didn't know, the people had to explain to me, in South America, there's different estratos, I said, what is that? They showed me. I said, no, man. Ooh. No. I think I was depressed for 2 weeks. I was depressed. Depressed. And that's when I started finding out about this hypnotic rhythm. That's when I started studying about this. I wanted them to break away from it. And let me tell you how powerful this, how do you say it in Portuguese? Mentalidad pobre or something like that?
Yes, mentalidade pobre.
Let me tell you how powerful this is. And this is going to be the craziest thing you ever hear. When we decided we're no longer going to do the school, okay, because we have to, leave. A crazy thought in my head said, why don't we offer the school to the 5 teachers, and they could work as like a community. They have a word in Spanish. I forget what it is. And they only have to send us $500 a month. That's all we want. That's crazy for a business with 70 kids. They just take over everything. They already know how to run it. My wife sat them down and said, we want to offer you girls the school. You will take it over. It will be under your name. You have we'll leave you the psychologist. We'll leave you this. We'll leave you everything. We'll leave you the accountant, so you don't have to worry about it. What do you think they said?
They didn't want it.
No. No.
Wow.
No. They were so scared. They didn't know what to do. No.
Yeah. The mentality.
Yeah, man.
Whoa, that's unbelievable. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But the bad side of me was like, wow, this is an excellent country, because as an American, I could sell wind if I want,
Yeah.
I could start a business and nobody's going to give me a hard time. You know who is very successful in South American countries? This is my opinion, by the way, guys, if you're watching this, guys and gals.
Sure.
When a South American person leaves and lives abroad, when they come back, they take over the world. They come back with new eyes. They say they take over the world, And the same thing happens when immigrants, they come to this country, United States, and they have that hunger. They want the BMW that they can never have in South America. And they're like, all I have to do is this, and I get that. Yeah. They have 2 houses, BMW, yeah, everything, And the American people are looking at them like, how come we don't have that? It's because you don't have the passion, you don't have the hunger. So it works both ways. Exactly. But what I mean is, whenever you go to Colombia and you see a business and it's prosperous, chances are you look for the owner, and the owner either lived in the United States or worked in the United States for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they come back, not only with money, of course, but they come back with a whole new outlook. And it's
Yeah.
that competitive, yes, I can outlook, you know? You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
would see that. That's all you
Yeah.
need, guys. Whoever's watching in South America, all you need is you stay away from the negativity. If you have to do it in secret, just do it in secret. Learn whatever you have to do secretly. Don't tell anybody. Nobody needs to know.
Yeah.
And just go for it, man.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
make your words mine. I have nothing else to add because it's so true. I can totally relate to everything. We are forced to believe that we can't be more. Like that's it. You were born like this, be this for the rest of
It's
your life.
it's
Uh,
a great plan for the people that control us. It's great. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. It's like, how are we going to control all these people? Tell them they can't do this and they can't do that. And you know, that's it. It's that easy. They're going to believe that. Yeah, they'll believe it. Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
so wonderful, right? If we
It's
were the elite,
perfect.
it would be wonderful.
Yeah, perfect plan. Yeah. And we can also bring this mentality to learning English in general. And I would like to ask you something. If you could point, like if you could give a piece of advice for students who want to have good English and become a confident speaker, what would you tell them?
Huh. I would memorize movies. I would memorize podcasts, memorize them. And as you memorize them, just write down whatever you don't understand. I would read phrasal verb books and idiom books, expressions. I would learn how to use them. And when you have all of that, then I would just start working on shadowing. But you have to memorize. Like if you were gonna go on stage for Broadway, you have to memorize a whole script. Just do the same thing, you know, because when we're kids, it's the same thing we do. Our parents say, you know, baby hungry, baby is hungry, baby is hungry, is
Mm-hmm.
baby hungry, is, you know, and we
Mm-hmm.
start memorizing like this and we start using it. So when you memorize a movie or a podcast, that's amazing, you know, something like that. And then also, of course, you have to speak to people. You have to speak to the native speakers, you know, but just get prepared to speak to them. Have a lot of stuff. Vocabulary is not important if you don't know how to use it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get one word and know how to use it 20 different ways because that's the American language. One word, we use it like 20 different ways. And but you're gonna find that in the movies. You're gonna find that even in the cartoons, but like for the older kids, like we watch Ninjago with my Chinese kids. And the stuff they say is brilliant. It's a bunch of expressions and it's well written, you know, and so they learn so much, you know, from something like that from Ninjago. It's free, man. When I was a kid, you have to go to the library and you have to get a cassette and run home and you have 2 days to listen to the cassette to try and learn a language. Now you have YouTube, you have TED Talks, you have online dictionaries, you have pronunciation things, and everyone should know this. All right,
Yeah.
Carla.
Yeah. Well, taking the opportunity that you said, right now, it's much easier than in the past to learn anything you would like to learn. But, George, here's the question now. Based on your experience teaching students worldwide, is it the language that's difficult to learn, or it's more about students not having a consistent studying routine?
They're lazy. I'm lazy. I'm learning drums. I haven't practiced in about 3 weeks.
I think we were born to be lazy, right? We got to force
Yes,
ourselves.
we have to force because we're all lazy.
Hmm.
Because if your boss calls you and says you're going to get fired in 3 months if you don't,
And now you got a
you know,
motive.
yeah. So you have to find a motivation or something, you know, which I don't know how you did it, my friend, but whatever you did, everybody should follow whatever you did because you're the living example. Yeah. You are, Carla. You really are. You never been to the United States and you speak better than most Americans. Come on. You did something. It's magic. It's magic, man. It's
Yeah.
magic what you did. You don't know it. Maybe you don't know it, but it's
Yeah.
magic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I try to bring this to students as well. But for me, it's what you said. We got to force ourselves to really have English. every day. Somehow. You don't need to have English the same ways all the time. It needs to be shadowing a little bit. You tell me. It doesn't need to be 1 hour of shadowing. You're not going to handle it. But you need at least 20, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. But do it. Be in contact with English. Talk to people. Record audios if you don't have anyone to speak with.
That's right.
Speak alone. Find ways. Yeah. Yeah. There is that famous saying, where there is a will, there is a way. So just finishing, people, George has an amazing channel too. After you finish watching here, there is a description down below the video. Follow him. He has awesome videos, awesome tips. And thank you so much for accepting this.
Thank you. I hope this ain't the last one. We'll do a bunch more, man.
We will, for sure. I hope to see you in the season 2.
Season 2. Yeah, that's so cool.
Little spoiler here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
All right, my friend. You're the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, really, George.
All right. I'll see you, sweetheart.